Hi, welcome to the studio. My name's Damian McGillicuddy and I've been a photographer for 35 years. And the one thing I've learned over those 35 years through the ups and the downs is photography should be fun. The key fundamental of photography is manipulating light. Now, good light just needs to be considered. It doesn't have to be complex, but you can have so much fun with it. The starting point for me is always the concept. What am I trying to shoot? And today I thought I'd shoot something that was a bit fashiony, a bit edgy, a bit cool, and we're going to have our model Lily, and she's going to make herself up, and we're going to have her in a latex hood for a cool, edgy, grungy, fashiony beauty headshot. And this is where having an idea of what you're shooting first pays off dividends, because it enables you to select the right modifier to manipulate the light, to give the right feeling, the right contrast, the right blends of light to tell the story that you want to get across to your viewer. Okay, so you can see that we're going to sit my subject here, and I'm opting for a very simple clamshell lighting configuration where the top light is my key light and the bottom light is my fill. It's called clamshell because somebody once thought it looked a little bit like a clamshell. The secret is in the modifiers that I've chosen to give me the quality of light that tells the narrative to the story. Up here I've got a PiXAPRO CITI300 Pro in a 65 centimeter parabolic dish, a rice bowl, and down here I've got again a PiXAPRO CITI300 Pro, very fast becoming my favourite light, in a large slim strip box. And I've chosen this deliberately, not just because of the wrapping effect of the fill light, but because of the shape of the catch light that it will give me within the iris of the subject's eye. It'll give me a lovely long languishing canoe of light, where this fella up here is going to give me a more contrasty light. So the transition from highlight to shadow will be more abrupt and the shadows will be a little bit deeper. One of the huge advantages of this 65 centimeter ice bowl is its configurability. So I can change the quality of light depending on how I set the light up. So here I've got the inner metal deflector. So this is as working as near as it possibly can to be in a beauty dish. And then I've got the outer diffuser just to soften that light slightly as it comes out of the unit and onto the subject. Now this is where versatility and creativity comes in, because I've opted for this because it gives me the most contrast. I could have easily taken it off and put an inner diffuser in to soften that down, but that's giving me the choice of how I want the light to be for the subject. So the choice of the long strip as my fill light is for two reasons basically. Firstly, it gives me a long enveloping wrapping light. Nobody said strip boxes have to remain vertical. And as you can see, I've flipped the grid off it because I want it to give me the widest, most spread of light it possibly can to be the most effective it can as a fill light. One of the most invaluable tools in my studio is the C or Century stand. You can see here by inverting it, I've managed to keep my fill light below and pointing upwards to exactly where I want it to be to elicit the fill and bring up the level of shadows as I wish. This is again another PiXAPRO CITI300, and I've got to say I am rapidly falling in love with this light. I very rarely do box opening type videos because I want to work with them in the real world before I give my opinion, and I've got to say I think this is probably the sweet spot. Now this light is 3 stops below my key light, because what I want to do is keep a little bit of density to those shadows. Right, now this is where it gets a little bit more variable, because you can see in shot my 2 FX lights, as I like to call them, because they're creating an effect in the picture, and my background. Now my background's deliberately been layered and staged and scattered as it is because I want a contrast in the image to the smoothness of the latex hood. So I want something with layer and shape and form, and how I play these lights in the picture depends on the effect that I get. You can see here that yet again I've got another PiXAPRO CITI300 Pro, and I've got a small metal dish and taped to it a blue and a green gel. Now I want the blue and the green gel because I want that sort of ethereal, sicky, urban-y colour to either the background or the smoke that we're going to put into the picture, as you'll see as we show you the pictures as we go through. This fella over here is a CITI400 Pro, and that's basically because I've run out of 300s at the moment. We have everything from the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 6 in the studio. I love them all, but this little 300 is, as I say, fast becoming my favourite light source. And as you can see there, we've got a smaller strip box, and the strip box has got a grid on it, because again that means that I can control the spread of light. More often than not, it's more important in a well-crafted picture not where the light goes, but where the light doesn't go. Right, so you've got my concept, I've given you the ideas, I've told you about the lights I'm going to use and how I'm going to use them. So all I need now is a super styled model to be able to take some cracking pictures. Don't forget, it's not just about the light, it's primarily about the concept. How you light the concept and then how you get something cool comes about partly by styling, makeup. It's a whole team exercise really. Beautiful. Right, drop the hands for me. Just coming in tight for a headshot. Awesome. I thought it was really important to show you the position of the lights from the subject's point of view. Now obviously I can't model as well as Lily could, and when Lily was sat for me she was facing this way, so the key light was raking down and creating shape and form, and the fill light was gently pushing a wall of soft light into the shadows to raise the density of the shadows and give me the contrast that I wanted. Right, so all that remains from the behind the scenes look is to pop up a diagram, pop up some finished pictures. Now this has been exciting for me to share with you. It's one of the things I love to do most, to take what you see with your eye and show you what I see through my camera, the finished results. Now that's the last thing we should mention actually, camera and lens choice. I've shot this on the Fuji X Pro 3 and I've used a 90mm lens, and the reason I've used a 90mm lens is because on the Fuji format it's a 1.5 crop factor, so that 90mm lens becomes 135 in 35mm film terms, historically always known as the portrait lens. Now why is that? It's because the longer telephoto lens does a magic optical trick. It compresses perspective. So in other words, it takes foreground, midground and background and squishes it together. So why is that important in a portrait? Quite simply, it's more flattering. It means noses become shorter. Nobody wants to look as though they've got a big nose, and my job is to make everybody look as best as they can when they sit for me in front of my camera. So I hope you've enjoyed this little visit into my world as much as I've enjoyed sharing it. Please look out for the next one. Over and out.